Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host Imperial Dane, featuring day 1 vs 1 on Langraskeya. Yes, indeed. Back to the fields of Langraskeya, we shall be watching IncredibleFahu once more off to show his incredibility, fighting for the Soviet 15th Tank Corps, going up against Unimatrix, fighting for the 115th Infanterie Division. Immediate infantry company start. MG42 though following up right there for him, and of course some conscripts for Fahu moving up right here to secure the connecting point. Like the conscripts will then be dispatched over here to take some points. So far so good, nothing deeply out of the ordinary, or is there? Dun dun dun. No, not quite. Also noting Festung armor, Festung support, and Jäger infantry doctrine available for Unimatrix. A nice little combination, heavy on the defensive, and a bit of all-out infantry action if he so desires it. Points there being secured, MG42 moving up. Second MG42 out, that's more interesting, a bit more peculiar. Could work out well, depends I suppose of what sort of positions you want to set up, but at the same time, if Fahu plays aggressively or just cleverly enough, he can very easily outmaneuver them. In that sense, Unimatrix could run into problems. Same if Fahu had gone for something like a special rifle command rush and some scout cars, in which case the MG42s would very quickly come to short, since currently no incendiary armor piercing rounds. More conscripts arriving. Company is here leading the first engagement versus some pioneers, kicking in the door to a nearby farm building, I imagine.
Ready.
The pioneers immediately pull back under intense Morse in the gunfire. There go MG42 setting up to support the pioneers. MG42 there looks like we did see one attempt at a rush building, and of course this building did tend to get a lot rushed off as well in the first company of heroes, so no deep surprises there. It has a nice coverage of the battlefield. Although I'm sure the conscripts here disagree a bit that it's nice.
MG support standing by.
Looks like Fahu quickly realizes this is just going to be a stalemate and not one that actually favors him, so he immediately pulls back with his combat engineers rather than waste precious manpower. Well decided there, Fahu. A good tactical decision. Grenadiers finally arriving for Unimatrix. Advancing up the road, the lonely dirt road. Conscript securing the central victory point in the name of the Rodina. We'll be quiet here, combat engineers standing back doing nothing, reminiscing about good bottles of vodka, I suppose.
To the fatherland.
Quietly advancing up there. Another grenadier squad. The MG42s were clearly there just for blocking, stalling positions where he then will follow up with infantry. That's not necessarily a bad idea, but not one I would recommend for novices. But there we go, Molotov up for Fahu, immediately gets it off, and the Grenadiers are a bit caught in it. Already suffering grievously and heavy.
Yes.
But a second Grenadier squad arrives on the scene to assist. Ultimate munitions after the light machine gun, we decides to go for that. Meanwhile, up north, conscripts repel a squad of pioneers in brutal close quarters combat, where some conscripts take the very far route here to avoid the MG hiding behind the trees. The mighty oaken trees. At least leafy trees, not pine trees. And there we go. Ultimately, though, they did end up being spotted by Heinz, who happened said to have the eyes of the Reichseagle, something like that. Opening up there on the conscripts, suppressing the poor bastards, and they do manage to secure the point. It is not enough, and the Grenadiers lead a counter-attack. Pushing up here towards a fuel, which could in fact lead Fahu to having a fuel advantage. Special rifle command up. That could mean snipers, that could mean scout cars, that could mean a lot of things, and there we go. Scout car out for the tank corps. Pioneers here getting burned alive. Fire being poured all of them, and of course this combined with the scout car could actually prove to be very disadvantageous for the MGs in the building, and of course in that sense it's actually quite a nice counter. Again, some people can just think, you know, raw firepower is the best way to deal with this. Sometimes it's just mobile firepower, which a weapon like this actually will have very hard time dealing with. So that's actually quite well out thought there by Fahu. A nice counter, a nice mobile one. Also one that's least likely to actually expose him to enemy fire as well. But also do it with some swiftness. So very glad to see this solution here from Fahu, if it is indeed the solution he wishes to apply to these MGs in the buildings. And there we go, Grenadier Squad upgrade with a light machine gun, 3 Grenadier Squad starts, 3 Grenadier 2 MG starts. Certainly also reminiscent of Campaign of Heroes, except the Grenadiers weren't tier 1 and didn't have that good light machine guns, but nonetheless. Well done there, Unimatrix, although he is quite losing territory. And there we go, Scout coming up, needs of course to keep moving, but can burn away with impunity. And getting in front of the front just as the MG crew pops out. Bad news for the gunners. And there we go.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Needs to be careful though, it doesn't get caught by any grenadiers.
Engaged!
Oh dear, looks like, yes indeed, Fahu got a bit too close. Panzerfaust connects with the engine block, damages it, and leaves the scout car a little less impressive. And I imagine also the Soviets are a little less impressed by American engineering. It only took 1 Panzerfaust.
Can we help?
I'm sure if Comrade Stalin had made this, it could take 10. Anyways, Grenadiers going to lead the counter-attack. The scout car is going to try and get away while the Communists block with a bit of fire. Certainly a bold maneuver. But the Communists are not going to last that long, although we are seeing more infantry arriving here for Fahu. The scout continues to pull away. 50 caliber ranging in on the advancing Grenadiers and Pioneers. And there we go. Ooh, right. Oh, never mind. Not pull back far enough. Climbing up, he needs to be careful. It is negative cover. A good Molotov here. Yes, there we go. Molotov. Lots of Molotovs, in fact. And one of the Grenadiers seems to be running straight into the fire. This is not good. Unimatrix needs to pull back his troops. They're not in a good condition, Unimatrix. Ruksuk. Ah, balls. 1 Grenadier squad wiped. 2 squads of Grenadiers wiped out and a light machine gun handed over. That was clearly a poor tactical decision right there by Unimatrix. He hung around when he shouldn't have, and he should have pulled back those 2 Grenadier squads much faster, and he certainly should have been standing up on the road like that. So that was a rather poor decision by Unimatrix, which ultimately handed over a light machine gun to the enemy's conscripts. Really bad, in fact. A bit disappointed in Unimatrix. So that one looks like he's taking on up. Why he's going for such a heavy tier 1? Oh, hush. For some armor, some panzers, which of course can always work. But looks like he's being consistent in upgrading Grenadiers with light machine gun. Of course, that is quite an effective upgrade. In particular, you can get several Grenadiers together with light machine guns. Then you can lay down a rather intense wall of fire against advancing infantry.
Sector is ours.
Just a little fun fact there. Though a normal infantry division will only had about 1 light machine gun for every 8 Grenadiers or 10 Grenadiers in a squad, of course, dealt up in 2 fire teams, like this for example, with the Grenadiers here providing base of fire while the other squad would then provide the maneuver element. And a Molotov in return, forcing away the Grenadiers. Good move there by Unimatrix. And there we go. Support armor core up. And a sniper out. Heckenschütze, Scharfschütze, however you would like to call it. Although Heckenschütze has a rather slightly more dirty connotation to it, indicating it's less about skill and just being a sneaky little bastard. Grenadiers mounting up, and there we go. Soviet MG fire proves to be just as unpleasant. Grab grenade up, but the Grenadiers need to pull back. And looks like 2 Grenadier squads have now been upgraded. Of course, one part of any German infantry division would have been highly more equipped with light machine guns. That would have been the Fusilier Battalion, which was usually the more elite part of an infantry division. Part elite battalion, but also part reconnaissance battalion. They were usually a bit better. They came about after the infantry division reforms in 1942, where the Germans lost the scout battalion and, well, basically an infantry battalion in each regiment. So instead they got the 7th battalion, the Fusilier Battalion. In some cases they're apparently even mechanized and motorized, but that seems to have been more of a case-to-case thing, and likely would have been a comp out from other things rather than they were actually supposed to have it. Conscripts here though, exchanging machine gun fire, snipers moving up.
Forces are securing.
We are of course noting 2 sniper teams up for Fahu. In fact, it's time to pop over to Fahu, the Incredible. Scout car, of course, recruit, remand on a fresh rampage against the fascists. And there we go, sneaking up on the MD crew, snipers firing away. Less effective against units in building, of course, that's rather intentional, because otherwise buildings would be death traps like the one from News 1, where there really wasn't that much of a reason to use them. So of course they have to provide some protection against things like this, but of course there's also the risk now, a higher risk, of course, that the building collapses, though it's not exactly, you know, that secure. Grenadiers going to try and hunt down the snipers. Like machine guns can actually be quite handy if you can catch the snipers in the right spot in mowing them down. And there we go. One poor sniper went down. But good aggressive work towards the fuel point. Certainly doing his best to deny Unimatrix of it.
Your orders, comrade.
And of course also note how Fahu is actually attacking a different point. He's not just lumping up into one great ball of anger, attacking one spot only. He's constantly moving about, flanking, harassing small detachments, trying to basically outstretch out as far Unimatrix's front line and then bash through there, which is definitely a good approach when you're playing as the Soviets. Conscripts right here though, running into a wall of machine gun fire. 2 MG42s just tearing into them. And now the scout car is going running straight into it. Oh dear, needs to get away before the Grenadiers get off a Panzerfaust. All the fire pouring out on the Grenadiers to end a lot of the lives, but there we go, once more a bit too slow. At the same time, an assault here going in from Unimatrix, well done, going for the cut-off point. 2 Grenadiers with light machine guns, although he might have wanted to place in the sort of way so perhaps he could lure the snipers in a bit closer. But there we go, instead pulling back. And there we go, an Austrian flak panzer arrived.
Another vehicle has been lost in the defense of the
Smashing its way through the front lines. And causing poor Fahu a bit of a headache. But we are seeing a Tankovi battalion command going up for Fahu in return.
Your predecessor died.
So tankists versus Panzer. Austrian, though, doesn't seem to have a lot of luck with the snipers. At least not on this day. This moment.
Enemy forces are capturing
No
our
doctrine as of
supplies.
yet for Fahu. There are certainly some options here. Shock rifle, guard rifle, and guard motor.
AT grenades now available to all conscripts.
And anti-tank grenades up as well. Splendid. Working very hard on the Tankovi battalion command here.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
Fahu here needs to be a bit careful. He's advancing in deeply with nothing to actually cover the flanks. And there we go, the Austrian spots its prey and belches forth death. Fahu's advance. Stalling a bit, the MG42 in the building proving to be quite the opponent for the sniper teams. Doing what they can instead, coming under return fire from the MG42 crew. Not exactly happy about what's going on. So again, actually, you know, there is some ways to actually try and protect yourself against snipers. Buildings, for example.
Hold the line, engineer squad.
And there we go, a T-34 on the way. As the Austrian continues to end the lives of Soviet citizens. And there we go, T-34-76.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory. Fire!
Unimatrix needs to be a bit careful over here, but looks like Fahu is not paying attention, which could work out to be his advantage.
Man down!
And there we go, Fahu launching the assault, T-34 ranging in on the Austrian. Austrian needs to get out of there, that's definitely not going to have a chance. Come on, Unimatrix! Pull out of there. Panzerfaust connecting with the rear. And Grenadiers suffering heavily in that instance, which is less good. Also, we're not quite having any luck here.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
And the T-34 almost veterans one already. Austin very close, trying to escape through the gap in the hedgerows, but ultimately it's not enough. T-34 scores the kill. Now it just needs some repairs and it's ready to take on the enemy once more. And there we go, we have seen Guards arrive with combined arms, already got access to the howitzer, submachine guns, Guards infantry, and of course hit the dirt. But I think his primary priority ought to be getting that T-34 repaired. Get it back in combat condition and unleash it on the Germans.
Who do you want dead?
But for now we do see that Unimatrix holds most of the map in an iron grip. Well, sort of iron. It's not really strong at the moment after the loss of that flak panzer. And of course, once that T-34 is combat operational again, it's going to be a very great threat.
This is our sector.
Guards troops ready for action.
And Guards infantry arriving, and
Neutralizing a sector.
a Panzerkampfwagen 4 rolling out from some nearby Panzer division. Just into support.
We need to re-establish our supply lines.
And there we go, Grenadiers leading their advance, coming under fire.
We are in contact.
Though T-34 so far is having a bit of not so good luck. Actually hitting, but there we go, good shot, killing 2 Grenadiers right away. Panzer IV advancing up. Grenadiers not really in any condition to support anymore. Anti-tank grenades blend off. Panzer IV advances still. Actually exposing the rear and side armor to the anti-tank rifles. That would definitely benefit Fahu. He should no, he doesn't have it upgraded with light machine guns, so he can't button the Panzer IV. Definitely a bit of a sad situation there. And sadly the T-34 is lost. He was so close to saving it had he only had the ability to button. What a shame, what a shame. MD-42 crew advancing, but apparently Unimatrix is not quite realizing what's going on. He might end up losing it. Pioneers rushing in, the MD-42 finally realizing what's going on. Unimatrix pulls it back. MD-42 actually firing from there. And the Guards infantry in return find themselves suppressed, but still firing away with a PTRS at the rear of the Panzer IV, doing considerable damage in the process. In fact, reaching veterans who won in the process. Anti-tank grenades continue to run in. And what is this? Smoke drop. Trying to save the Panzer IV that way, but ultimately of no avail. Just in the last minute, an anti-tank rifle bullet does pierce it and end it. That was bloody well close, but it does mean that Unimatrix has gone for Festung support.
Falling into enemy hands.
Festung Unterstützung, meine Damen und Herren.
You need light anti-tank conscripts here.
And a second squad of Guards infantry out for IncredibleFahu. And another T-34 out on the way. Bit of a brutal skirmish right there.
Soldiers ready.
The MD-42 in this building continues to prove to be a considerable obstacle for Fahu. Perhaps a tank rolling up to one of the windows might sort that out.
Guard squad ready.
Still, Fahu does possess quite a considerable infantry force. Of course, in return, Unimatrix has actually been suffering quite heavily in the infantry department, and now, of course, also the armor department. So, in that sense, IncredibleFahu is definitely leading in unit preservation. Interesting enough, he's not upgrading any of his conscripts with submachine guns. That's usually what you see happen.
Have arrived. The sector is at risk.
And there we go, Unimatrix setting up a howitzer, the leichte Feldhaubitze. That could prove to be a nasty surprise.
Rifle ready.
And there we go, Sniper Veterans 1 MD-42 here in dire straits. And they're going to do squad arriving. Perhaps a rifle grenade right here. Retreats. And there we go. T-34 does move in to deal with that MG42 in the building. Well done, Fahu. Well done. At the same time, moving in to actually cut off any path of retreat. Splendid there. Well done, Fahu. Well done. Time to hop back to Unimatrix. His MG42 crew in a not so good position. Considerably lower on infantry again. As I noted, he might want to try and use relief infantry in coordination with an assault. That way, at least getting some of the troops back, and that way, in another way, trying to build up a larger force so you can actually have a larger field presence and actually hold larger chunks of the map. In return, though, we see the howitzer firing away. First shot flies quite a bit over. And there we go, second hit connects, killing 3 conscripts outright, knocking the stuffing out of them.
You guys, listen to me if you want
But
to
again,
live.
relief infantry. Send in the Osttruppen. And a fresh Panzer IV arriving as well. This assault is definitely not working. I was seeing a strafing run coming in there. This would also be a good timing for relief infantry. Just saying. Oh, dear, conscripts have been forgotten by Fahu. Veteran T2 conscripts with a light machine gun. And a response that the Panzer IV commander apparently requests that they tell the devil he said hello. What a wonderful chap, ain't he? Additional guards infantry arriving for Fahu. He might want to augment with, say, just a single squad of penal infantry, since they can also be quite handy, in particular when they reach some veterancy. And a half-tag out here. An eager gunner with a 50 caliber. And again, relief infantry. I really think he should try using it. In particular, now that it actually lasts 2 minutes, which means it's basically 1 munitions per minute, and again, that pretty much means you'd have to really time it poorly not to get even a single squad of Osttruppen out of it. If you do it correctly, you can even get 3 squads of Osttruppen, which is also the maximum number you can get out of one usage of it. Artillery once more firing in support of an offense. Using an actor to cover that, that's not a bad idea. Nicely coordinated assault there, but again, something to assist. Something to allow him to actually have some reserves to throw into the fight. Something to quickly follow up after the initial part has failed. Though Fahu might want to consider some more anti-tank, or at least some more armor. And there we go. A successful push from Unimatrix has forced Fahu a bit back, but looks like he's reorganizing and preparing for another assault. Half-track here needs to be careful. And actually ramming the T-34 into the Panzer IV, bit of a bold move, but bold. And Fahu actually being a bit... Oh, looks like he actually lost a sniper. He's being a bit risky here with him. He might actually end up losing a sniper here if he's not careful. The other sniper. Half-tech moving up. Engineers moving up. And I think the artillery is firing again. Yes, straight into the advancing Soviet horde. Direct hit. Direct hit. Wiping out 7 men onto the spot. I think even a guard squad had its life ended right there. And if you've also called in sector artillery right now, this could prove absolutely devastating for Fahu. Come on, sector artillery. Come on, Unimatrix. But no, instead the T-34 actually gets repaired and can take out his disabled Panzer IV. Ah, if only Unimatrix had utilised sector artillery, perhaps combined with some relief infantry, he might have been standing a better chance here. And veterans who want for the howitzer already. Splendid work. And there we go. Now he gets really sector artillery. I think that's, on the other hand, it's a bit late, but nonetheless actually ends up doing a lot of damage. And then we see a squad of conscripts wiped out. The losses are certainly heavy now on Fahu, although we do see a second T-34 arriving on the spot. While this one still tries to deal with the Panzerkampfwagen 4.
A squad of pioneers has arrived.
And there we go.
The enemy has
Panzer
destroyed a
4 is lost.
You need something built?
Unimatrix does need to work considerably on its unit preservation, and again using a bit more of destruction, although we are seeing these two three abilities. I would very much like to see relief infantry used again. It would allow him to build up a larger force, and while the Ostrom certainly won't be as good as Grenadiers, so say Panzer Grenadiers, they can still be used to apply some pressure and guard flanks and whatnot. Another Panzer 4 on the way. Grenadier squad here getting closer, getting wiped out by the T-34, and looks like they're going to move straight into Fahu's base. Grenadiers and everything else are moving in to place themselves in the way, but that's just going to be easy to target. They could be crushed here. Yes, indeed. No, why did Fahu stop up? He was so close, but just crushed all of this beneath his mighty threats. I'm a bit disappointed in Fahu. I'm a bit disappointed. I suppose we can't have everything in this world. Of course, one thing about anti-howitzers, they were also tended to be improvised as anti-tank guns, in particular the 10.5mm German's howitzer was used quite a bit in that regard, particularly in the early stages of the war. That and the 88 was used to knock out tanks. And there we go, Fahu gets it, half-tank gets in the way, but like going to go down, T-34s need to try and get out of there. One in fact is close to veterans 2 already. But that was quite the blow to Unimatrix, losing him his howitzer. And considering all the other losses, that's not really something he could afford to lose. And there we go, veterans 2 for the T-34, decreasing the damage taken, but also increasing the damage done. T-34 very close to going down. And there we go, Panzer 4 almost down itself as well. Main gun destroyed though, a tragic loss right there for Fahu. Very tragic. And there we go, Veteran 2 T-34 lost. Definitely bad news for Fahu right there. At the same time we see the Panzer 4 gaining Veterans 1. But again, relief infantry, I would really love to see it used. I'm certainly considering making that the challenge for next week, the use of relief infantry. That and rapid conscription.
Enemy forces are securing our territory. We are losing the sector.
And these Grenadiers need to retreat. What are you doing, Unimatrix? That's your Veteran 3 Grenadiers.
We need orders. You need fire support?
1 and 15th Infantry Division are definitely in trouble here.
Panzer 4 ready.
In the face of the 15th Tank Corps.
Panzer 4. The enemy is attempting
Oh,
to
IncredibleFahu
sector.
must be getting a bit desperate. He suffered a bit as well to that howitzer and other things, so he's actually using his sniper to take ground. Ooh, that could prove to be a very, very unfortunate move right there. But looks like Fahu was rather lucky there. Rather lucky. Ooh, Unimatrix needs to work with MT-42 usage. That right there was very dangerous. In fact, could easily have ended up with Fahu grabbing that MG-42 if he had not been careful. In this case, though, Fahu was a bit too slow to react, and thus did not manage to get past it in time.
Enemy contact!
Good, good. Building up a T-34 force, not just relying on one T-34 at a time, but on a larger number of them. That is how you do it. The T-34 being a numbers tank, about speed, volume of fire, not quality of fire. And there we go. MG crew dead. Another tragic loss for the Reich. And there we go, Grenadiers rushed off.
We are down to 200 power. Opponents are seizing the sector.
And another sector artillery, a bit of a poorly chosen sector. In fact, ends up blowing up more of his own men than the enemies. So that was pretty much just a waste of 200 munitions right there for him. He should have timed it a bit better, waiting until either the entire enemy was there, not just when one guy was there, though. That could have been handled infinitely better by Unimatrix. Popping over to Fahu, and of course time for the mid-game analysis. If we can pause this. Current situation is rather advantageous to the IncredibleFahu at the very moment. Building up a large tank force, got quite an infantry force as well. He could consider actually mining up things here. The road here would be a good spot. This would be a really good spot here, and for example also here. He needs to begin building up some defences, since he's the one that's likely going to end up on the defensive with this amount of territory he has. And of course in that sense, getting his support weapon company, perhaps a field gun or two to sort of aid, perhaps mortars, machine guns, would also prove to be good. He needs something a bit extra. I think some more depth, since it's currently down to a very limited set of units he has, so something can bring out a bit more better defensive combined arms would be good, since the T-34 is pretty terrible on the defensive. It's very much an offensive tank, and again a tank you need in numbers. So that is something to be considered. He could also consider actually getting his own howitzer and trying to blast away at the fascist foe that way. For Unimatrix, he needs to begin working on his unit preservation, of course, after this, but build up a more solid force, use relief infantry, get some more German squads out there, and that way build up something that can be a bit more of a numerical threat, something so you can actually hold better parts of the front line, put up some pressure, because that's what he needs to do now, and in that sense relief infantry would be one of the faster and more direct ways of being able to do so without having to worry too much about his less than good unit preservation. You should also consider getting some Stugs to provide some longer range fire support to augment the Panzer IV. And also cheaper support that way. So that would definitely be my suggestion, but let's return to the fight. Also I think he might want to consider getting a field infirmary, since particularly his snipers are in a terrible condition. It's at this stage that if someone sneezes at them, they'll die. And the enemy's not going to just sneeze at them, so they're really going to die.
T-34, our unit count is increasing.
And still no submachine gun upgrades for the conscripts. I'm actually surprised at this, as that's pretty much one of the primary reasons you go for this doctrine, besides hit the dirt. Yet Fahu's actually not using a lot of it. He's using the Guards infantry, and then he's occasionally used this one, but that's really it. So the question is, if not something like Guards motor wouldn't be the better choice of doctrine for him, would also augmented his tanks with Mark vehicle, self-repair, allowed him to call in T-34-85s, also had a heavy mortar. So I'm a bit curious about Fahu's choice of Guards rifle combined arms.
We have our PPSHs. Time to shoot.
Oh, never mind then, now we actually see submachine guns being handed out. A direct assault without much support, straight into heavy machine gun fire, and Sturmovik attack moves in. At the same time, we're seeing Fahu going straight in for the base, perhaps worrying there might be something else there, perhaps trying to trap another house sitting. Instead, we see a Pioneer squad wiped out. And we also note here that currently Unimatrix has nothing within his nearby to respond. In fact, he's looked like he's trying to make a base rush and knock out the Kampfgruppe headquarters. A bold move. But now we are seeing, in fact, that Unimatrix is reacting, and he's reacting in the good way. He's not trying to engage directly. He's going to move in and hit them in the rear, going to cut them off in the retreat. make it harder for them to escape. And there we go, a veteran T2 T-34 at the same time, looks like he's pulling back. Unimatrix is not quite fast enough. Be careful about exposing your rear to the T-34s. Guards, as you move up, definitely need to get some buttoning off there. Oh dear, T-34 down, kaput. And in fact, the other Panzer IV here is close to veteran T2 as well. And there we go. Armoured skirts up. And there we go, another T-34 Panzer IV down. This one is also getting closer to veteran T3 itself. Quite incredible. Armoured skirts. Originally they acted to protect against anti-tank rifle fire.
Close air support is available.
Don't give it a target!
And there we go, Panzer IV escaping the wrath
Enemy forces are
of the
attempting to
Guards
capture our
infantry.
territory. We need to re-establish our supply lines. Ready for orders. Enemy forces capture.
So it is heavily damaged. Veteran T2 makes it considerably tougher. Oh, anti-tank grenade damaging the engine. But at the same time, Fahu doesn't quite have the ability to really deliver a killing blow at the moment. And for now, Unimatrix is basically... Oh, another Grenadier squad wasted with a light machine gun again. Relief infantry. Relief infantry, Unimatrix. Try to preserve some of your forces, or at least get something so you don't get quite easily so crippled anymore. And another Grenadier squad wiped out. Unimatrix really needs to work on his unit preservation, particularly his infantry usage. It's a bit too reckless, and ends up losing him much more than he can actually afford.
Secured, but the enemy wants it back!
And another howitzer up. He's definitely not giving up there.
Good work, comrades. It now belongs to us.
And interesting enough, IncredibleFahu is doing nothing to repair his T-34. I would definitely suggest getting some combat engineers on that one. And the second MD of Unimatrix running into problems. Also detaching troops over to harass there. Good, good. Panzer IV less than willingly forced into the fight again despite not being fully repaired.
Units awaiting orders. Engineer standing by.
And soon the second leichte Feldhaubitze ist ready.
The point is ours.
And finally some repairs being exact on that T-34.
The guards here. This now belongs
Still think Fahu should consider investing in something extra.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
A field gun or two traps back up the T-34s again. The Panzer IVs could prove to be quite handy.
Squad replenished.
But now that veteran 2 Panzer IV is fully repaired.
Sniper has arrived.
Now we're in the ship. Awaiting orders.
And a fresh sniper up for Fahu.
Supply sector under attack.
It is now under our control. Under armor attack!
And there we go. Small limited assault. Resulting in Fahu completely retreating his troops, and in the meanwhile the main engagement seems to be here in the centre. Guard infantry conscripts pushing up there. Little support for the Grenadiers here, and the MD-42 is not nearby to support. Although of course we have a second howitzer ready, and that could very well be firing in here. And there we go. But
Now this land belongs to the Soviets.
he doesn't quite work out as much as he wants. T-34 moving up. This one's still being repaired. And this one, oh, ramming it! Crippling the Panzerkampfwagen. At the same time, an assault is launched here to cut off resources for Unimatrix. Well done, well done. And the howitzer really hasn't hit anything. He needs to be a bit careful about shooting that close. And the veterans UT-34 arriving. It needs to clear out the pioneers first, so they can't finish repairing it and get the main gun operational. Instead, it looks like he's trying to deal with the Panzer itself. And the pioneers, of course, are still repairing. I think that was a less than optimal decision right there by Fahu. A bit sad to see that one. But looks like he actually manages just in time. Doing his best to block the path. And again, noting ever so little troops left for Unimatrix. Again, less than good unit preservation, to be honest, and no usage of relief infantry, which again I do feel is a bit shameful. Oh, direct hit with the howitzer on the T-34. And there we go, companies need to retreat, but that T-34 here is likely gone. Toast, scrap, metal. Another Panzer IV arriving.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Can this T-34 survive? Does Lady Luck fake? No, not quite. But on the other hand, if it could survive just a bit more, get fully repaired, get into combat again, it could reach Veterancy 3, which would definitely make it a threat.
Don't let them see us.
So very close. Can the T-34 survive? No. Bit of a shame that.
Combat engineer, the enemy has destroyed one of our vehicles.
Taking fire.
But Fahu continues on his emphasis on T-34s. That is good. He's been consistent. I like that.
Man down.
Though sometimes he does seem a bit too fond of ramming things.
We have a new unit. The sector is at risk.
The battle's continuing. The points continue to tick forwards. Unimatrix really hasn't held this area for quite some time. It's always been right behind this line, the road, which is not really very effective. And don't expose the rear to the enemy guards infantry, Unimatrix. That's not really good either. Oh, nice hit right there. Ending the lives of several Soviet infantrymen. And gaining Veterans 1. Snipers! Oh, they got a bit too close. A stray round wiped them out. And the other sniper team got too close as well. The Panzer IV wiped them out as well. Oh, foul! That must be a bit painful. Ach du lieber. Well, that is what happens when you send in snipers on their own with nothing to lead the way.
50 points remaining.
And here we are, in fact, seeing him trying to rise for the victory points in a desperate bid to hold them, while Fahu is basically doing the same in a desperate bid to drag them down as quickly as possible. And 3 fresh T-34s. And there we go, that MD crew is gone, no more. A 3rd Panzer IV, looks like the entire Panzer company is being mustered in an attempt to get the 115th Infantry Division through this. Bit of a desperate strategy, which could have been perhaps avoided. But again, question is, does he have the time for it? And in this case, I'd actually suggest ramming one of the tanks into the Panzer IV with Veterans. Otherwise, I mean, this engagement is going to be too long, since it simply is too tough otherwise. And artillery firing in return. Needs to move it back, the Grenadiers. Oh, another loss. Howitzer gets a direct hit on the T-34 there. And the Panzer IV, very close to getting knocked out by its own artillery. And there we go, ramming into the Panzer IV. A abandoning the T-34. Another Panther 4 down.
Our panzer forces have been reduced by 1.
At the same time, another one arrives just in time.
Sector.
This is definitely turning into quite the mess. Still no relief infantry. And veterancy free for these plucky guardsmen. And there we go, the veterancy 2 Panther 4 goes up in flames. Quite the shame. Quite the shame.
Our forces increase. Receiving fire!
Fucking Rus bastards are attacking! Yeah? Was ist los? That's a grenade!
Squad is no longer a threat.
But looks like he's actually doing a lot of nasty things now to Fahu. Fahu has suffered himself quite a bit in the face of all of this.
We have been outfitted with new weapons.
Ooh, and there's a light machine gun he could pick up, in theory.
He has taken our territory.
Awaiting orders!
Ooh, Guard Infantry Squad Veterancy 3 could go down, could go down. Awfully close. But the points are ticking down swiftly, just going to speed this up a bit. T-34 here needs desperate repairs.
Down to 25 points. Do not let them defeat us.
Grenadiers! Taking Soviet fire!
Infantry attack. Panzer force standing by.
It's definitely getting a bit tricky here.
We can hold down Ivan with our new MG.
New unit has arrived.
Bastards headed
Fahu, I think, is taking a lot of risks now just in the attempt to get down the victory points that could actually end up losing in the game. As again, we do see that sometimes when some people think they're so confident they'll take a lot of risk, which actually quite needless and actually ends up crippling them, allowing the opponent... Whoops, my apologies there. But allowing the opponent to get back just in the nick of time because the other gentleman, in his desperation, ended up losing too much to actually be able to hold the points.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. Small arms fire.
So that is something that should be considered, I think.
Train is damaged.
Shield running closer here!
Territory secure. Territory is out of contact.
And hitting the dirt. Intent on holding on to that point.
Reporting target destroyed.
And there we go, conscripts on the run. T-34 here still being repaired. Can just speed this up a wee bit more. There you go, the veterancy 3 guardsmen are running.
We have the sector! That's everyone! Grenadiers
Another
ready!
Panzer IV arriving.
We have a new Panzer 4.
Spotted by enemy eyes!
And straight ahead here for Fahu. Ramming into the Panzer IV. But of course there's another Panzer IV straight nearby, so that's not really going to do much. But looks like it could have been a diversionary assault, moving in for every other victory point. Clever, clever. And there's nothing Fahu, Unimatrix can do in time. It is too little too late now. He is utterly overwhelmed. He doesn't have the reserves to throw into this. Let's just beat this up. And there we go. Game over. A loss for the 150th Infantry Division. A loss for the Reich. A victory for the 15th Tank and Fahu. Well played by Fahu, well done by Unimatrix, but Unimatrix clearly had some problems in terms of infantry usage. Blah. And infantry preservation, a few mistakes in there, attacking open ground and basically, not retreating them in time. That really hurt him. And I also think he could have done more with destruction again. I would have loved him to actually see use relief infantry. That never quite happened and probably could have helped him get much farther ahead in this game and actually do considerably better. For Fahu again, also overall nice play. Really nice sort of early counters to the MG positions there. Quickly follow up with snipers. The T-34 was great. It's great to just see them in numbers. But of course he could perhaps have augmented it with the T-70s perhaps to deal with the flanks, or perhaps some field guns to provide some heavier fire backup, or perhaps even some penal troops instead of some older snipers. Means something extra I think could have worked out quite nicely for Fahu, or perhaps even that heavy howitzer. But there you go, hope you enjoyed this match. Oh, I would also like to have seen some mines from Fahu again, mines. So there you go though, hope you enjoyed this match, hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not replay your own. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.